Welcome to episode 28 of Code Talk, the Solutions Only Evening Show. I am your host, Victor Vincent, and the silhouette on the right that is muted right now is the artist known as Antoine Christopher. And we'll be right back right after the intro. Gonna be a good show. Welcome to this week's episode of Code Talk, the Solutions Only Evening Show. And I'm your host, Victor Vincent. And to I don't know which side you're on. When I'm looking at my screen, you're on my right, so you're probably on my left, is Mr. Antoine Christopher, the artist, that you guys are all familiar with. So, you know, um, I know we're going to talk about a variety of things, but I want to make sure that we get right to the topic at hand and the high value man. The evolution of the high value man is today's topic because, when we spoke last week, it was like, we said what high value man was when Kevin Samuels defined it. Then you got the social media interpretation of it. And then now it's where is it going next? Because when it first became popular, it was 2020, right?
Yep.
And then Kevin Samuels passed away in 2022, and it was already kind of distorted. Anyway, once social media get a hold of something, there's no telling what direction it's going to go into, right? So
Right.
a bunch of different interpretations of it, and I looked at the topic based on character, nothing else. But then I know that the money part is part of the conversation too. But I think most of the people just stayed right there, stuck on the money part. So I'm gonna today. I'm gonna speak on it from the intangibles because I think it's implied that we're talking about being financially fit and all the things that go along with it. Because I've heard you say multiple times you can't be a high value man without discussing, what I'm saying, the resource part of it too. But I just wanted to be able to say I'm going to focus on the character of it because that's what I think
Yep.
the high value man really is, and that's why the work and the content and the dialogue and the conversations, the topics that I've like dedicated my time to trying to create a conversation around is about establishing what the character of a man that is useful. And I think that's one of the main things that a high value man should be is useful. If you're not able to work with people and you're not useful, what is your value? So and if you have skills that you can help others with developing, then I think that's part of it too. So what is your take on where the definition of high value man is going? And what was like I wanted to follow your lead this week about what you wanted to talk about as it concerns this topic.
Well, to me, this listen, Kevin Samuels popularized this, right? I
Mm-hmm.
believe men were having that discussion. Don't get me wrong, but Kevin Samuels popularized it, and all this men need to lead, women need to be submissive. I don't even like the word submissive. That shit's like if I was a woman and I heard that shit, no,
Mm-hmm.
right? But a high value man, yes, it does deal with money. I'm not gonna say that, but it also doesn't deal with money in a sense of a man's character, what he's doing, he's building, he's growing, he's high value in a sense, he's going someplace, and you just can't walk into his life with nothing because he has something already. He has something substantial, he has something that he's building, and it's only going to get better. And to me, the character of that is a high value man. I don't necessarily put it in a sense that, like Kevin Samuels saying, he networks his he's well known, he networks, other people know his name. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you know, I don't all that. It's a great. It's great for what he's talking about, and the kind of men I guess he's talking about, which are the ones that are established millionaires and so forth. But or a Henry, you know, the Henry high earner, not rich yet. That's great, but in a sense that I believe you can be not as wealthy as those men, but on your way to be as wealthy as those men, and you are a high value man in a sense that you're coming up, people are knowing you, you're building your product, and you're getting recognition for it, and you're making sales, and you're surviving, and you're thriving on it. Sorry, not surviving, thriving.
Yeah.
So that's important. I think that's important. That's actually what's realistic. The other shit that he's talking about is on a not a very realistic way of saying, I would say. And when I say not very realistic, not everybody's the 1%.
Well, I think that's the point. Is like whatever high value to me is, like the way I interpreted what he was defining is based on his experience. He was older than us.
Right.
So you can't expect him to have the same definition as a 50, I think at the time it was 52, 53. His interpretation of what value is relative to who he's connected to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And good, bad, and different. Um, that's his interpretation. I think where the lines and the conflict comes into play is when they rely too much on when people start relying too much on social media interpretation. You know, now uh, I don't like talking about you know where people can't. You got to have some attribution, meaning like you got to be able to put a face on it
Right.
and be an example or it has to have a symbol or something like that, you know.
Correct. Correct.
uh there's layers to this thing. It has to be recognizable, you know what I'm saying, easily seen. So I think if it's a character thing, it's going to come out through the people that you influence.
Right.
If because that's the only product you really got. Is like, who have you helped, who have you served, and things of that nature. Because you could be, and I think a lot of people, he made distinctions of there's a difference between a high earner and a high value man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You could be a high earner, but that don't mean you have value. You know what I'm saying? That you so like you look at look at
Drug dealer's a high earner.
yeah, yeah, look at Puff Daddy. Rappers and entertainers are all
Yeah,
high.
those are high earners, but they're not the norm, right? I don't like to talk about those people
Yeah.
because, and I don't like to include them in social media talk because those are not normal people. They don't function like we do. And as much as they try to say they do, they don't.
Mm-hmm. Man, look, that's you know that's really where it is you got to understand the difference between the exception and the actual rule.
Right.
And most people aren't exceptions, and let's see here. So shout out to Uncle Junior, the Uncle Junior Network. Kevin Samuels defines high value man as a financially stable, earning 10K a month for 3 to 5 years, respected by peers, visibly successful, useful to others, resourceful, and leading sophisticated lifestyle. I mean, I don't have a problem with that definition because I think what it is that you should be in a position where you can make moves without having to move your hands.
Yep.
Like you become a filter, you know what I'm saying? You can make money off your network, you know what I'm saying, or being a part of something, or minimal labor, maximum return on, you know what I'm saying, input, you know what I'm saying? So we have our initial interpretations of it. Um, the the distance is going to travel has to be discussed though, because like as all things do, they come to pass and they have the least effectiveness because they have trendy terms associated with them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We can name plenty of terms that came and went, slang that came and went. It used to mean one thing, now it doesn't have the same effectiveness. Nothing really changes with that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there's patterns to this, and then one day, and at some point, I don't know when, is it's gonna change. You know what I'm saying? Somebody has to come in and redefine it, which is like and I'm gonna step into that later on in this conversation, because it has to be redefined. It has to be relevant to the men and the women.
Everyday men, everyday
Man,
people.
exactly. So that's what accountable masculinity is. It's a code for establishing your value. You know what I'm saying? And I think one of the things that's in this description, that I believe is very important, is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, with, like, when you put now, and I hate, I don't hate, but I think that it's just not discussed enough, and that's why I bring it up, because that's the difference between a high earning man and just a high value man, is his discipline. Because if he's a high earning man but he has no discipline, then who is he valuable to? Who,
Exactly.
who are
But
you valuable to without discipline?
but in order for you to get what you want to get out of life, you have to be disciplined. Or in order for your product to grow, you have to be disciplined in creating it. I mean, it's just the way it is. Things don't get done if you're slacking, and they don't get done if you're only relying on somebody else to help you to make you get it done or encourage you to get it done. You just got to get it done, right?
Yeah.
But the thing I don't like is that um, the way people are using high value man to put down other people that are are in the same boat as them, but they just don't consider them high value man. I don't like the way
Mhm.
people are using that term to put down others, to talk down to others, like if they're high value. You know, people, everybody on the internet, for some reason, everybody on the internet now is making 10K a month. Everybody on the internet is a boss. Everybody, bullshit. You're not. All right. If the average American makes 47K, then you ain't that. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
that some aren't. And I'm not saying that some aren't. But we need to stop talking and be realistic on what we're talking about. And I think that to put that negative, to turn high value man into a negative when you're talking to somebody, is wrong.
I think a lot of people just got caught up on the superficial stuff. Like, if you just take, like, look at that definition, right, and just take the 10K a month out for 3 to 5 years. Everything else is based on character.
Everything else you can attain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because, like, it's implied. Like, if you say you financially stable, that implies that money isn't an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Let's be
Um,
real. Money is always an issue with people, even myself. It's always
yeah,
an issue.
I mean,
So,
even if you got
come
it, it's
on, man.
always an issue. Even
Yeah,
if you
a
got
millionaire,
it,
a millionaire will tell you, a millionaire, which I know for facts, a lot of them will tell you, my problems are your problems, just on a bigger scale. So I
yeah.
don't know what the fuck you talking about.
And so somebody would hear you say, like, the millionaires that you know, and then they would probably not necessarily believe what you're saying, but you live in California, and being a millionaire in California is probably necessary to live in California, depending on what you do. So, like,
I don't know what they're talking about. Who you think fucking buys my work? Are you kidding?
yeah,
Anyway,
like,
I'm not here to prove. I'm not here to prove anything. I'm just telling
no,
you, I know them for a fact. So
yeah,
I don't.
yeah, exactly. You know that based on the
Yeah,
market, what you do and where you are,
dude,
everybody's
it's not
everybody's
a joke
hustling.
out here. I'm
Mhm.
thinking of moving to Texas with you. We were talking about that just the other time we
Hey,
were
come on.
saying.
Come on down, man. You know what I'm saying? It's
Exactly. My money will go farther out there. And the house we looked at, you and I was like, God damn, I wouldn't get that
yeah,
here.
yeah.
You know?
It's
So,
about
but I just don't like the way, like I said, for me, um, I'm defining the term as high value, but my main concern is how people are using it to put down others today. You know, and it ties into that whole I'm gonna pay, I'm gonna get that, that significant other and pay for everything. You ain't paying for shit.
that's
No,
the I think that's
that's
the
a
part you're
joke.
talking
That's
about.
it.
I think the part you're talking about right there is the social media impact on what it means.
Yeah.
Because, like, outside of the 10K a month for 3 to 5 years, the rest of it is character driven. If your character is, even if you had the 10K a month for 3 to 5 years, but if your character was lacking, it brings everything else into question. Because, if that's the difference between just being a high earner, or not. I think I'm saying that on a regular basis, because the person's discipline is what determines how valuable they are.
Yeah.
Because a person without discipline is a liability.
You know,
Like
exactly.
automatically, like if if um if you got somebody that's got access to a lot of money, but they got really bad vices, they're gonna spend all their money on their vices.
Exactly. And exactly. And that's another thing. Like, I think every man should aspire to be a high value man. I'd like to say that off the record. I think everybody on record, sorry, that every man should aspire to be a high value man in one way or another. I mean, in what he does for a living, to be the best version of himself in that aspect. You know, like you have a lot of people, you know, hide behind their money and talk behind their money, right? And a lot of them are on social media, and I just look at them and I'm like, the way you're talking and discussing your money and putting down others for it, just to let you know, millionaires, people that I know that are substantially wealthy, don't talk like that. If anything, they encourage you with what they come up with and what they say to you.
I,
They
I
don't.
think I think I think the most people I've met that's got like money in that term of an income bracket where it's
They
not a
don't
thing.
buy.
Those people, those people work on solving problems. They work on pulling the other people up.
Yeah,
They see they I think they see good character investments in other people. You know what I'm saying? Because once you got it, I believe that you're supposed to help. You know what I'm saying? People that work. You know what I'm saying, to earn that type of help, to earn that investment in something. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because you know what you didn't have, and
exactly.
if you had a you that was if you had another version of you that could come in and you know what I'm saying and fund or invest in whatever it is that you got going on, man. If you had two Antoines, what would you get done? If you had one that you could just lock in the room and just and
Man,
feed him food,
I'd be throwing him work while I hustle like a dog out there.
yeah,
While I'm sleeping, he's drawing. When he's sleeping, I'm drawing. You know, the opposite of me. It'd be great.
right.
And it would take up the time that I slack. You know, he wouldn't be procrastinating while I would be. I just feel like, in a sense, I just feel like that sounds so stupid coming from me. I just think being realistic about things is just that. How, Kevin Samuels, like he really popularized this term, and people just took it into a negative. They
Hmm.
did, because I feel that they took it into a serious negative, and I don't like that about it. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like that whole submissive talk, and I'm going to pay all the bills, but are you going to be submissive to me? All that submissive talk came in, and then it was just a mess. It created a mess. People took it and ran with it. Now it's a talking point. Um, to create money and generate money, and have people come on and bullshit. I'm gonna
yeah.
say, you
Well,
know,
I believe that again, some things are going to go to distance. And I believe that we have to, if we care about it, we have to steer the distance. You know what I'm saying? We
right,
can't wait for someone to we can't wait for someone else to come in and redefine it and then get mad when we don't like it.
right, right,
That doesn't serve us well. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that the conversation that we're having today is about that. It's about what do we do next? Now that we got the information that we got, the opinions that we got, the everything that comes with that, um, how do we control the narrative? How do we put our sauce on the narrative? Because what happens when you leave a good narrative stagnant? Somebody comes in and they change it to make it something else. So I think what you look at is what's already working and improve on something that's already there.
right.
So I haven't seen any other platforms that was talking about solving problems. I've seen
That's why I
where
like our channel, though. That's what
yeah,
we try to talk about.
yeah, like and I don't think it's worth discussing unless you got a plan to solve a problem.
Well, let's talk about that, because like, you want to be a high value man. I mean, look, minus the money. Let's just minus the money for a second, okay?
We're just talking
Not
character.
everybody making 10K.
Yep.
Let's just minus that money. Everything else is attainable, and I think that a man should start thriving towards that. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
start striving for that. Be visible with your peers. Visibly sexy, successful, meaning you have your shit together. Useful to others, meaning you serve a purpose. Resourceful, meaning they need you for something, rather your job or what you're doing and your product. And leading to a sophisticated lifestyle, which is earning more money and having a better lifestyle. So everything else in that list is attainable, even the 10K, but that's going to take time. So I like to talk to I like to say everybody's goal should be a high value man, um, and just let the money determine itself, and get there. Our basketball players aren't high value. These guys can't. Some of them can't even speak English.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them can't even form a sentence. Some of them end up broke after their career. They're so high value. Yeah, they're recognized by their peers on TV, but after that's gone, they're not considered high value anymore.
Yeah. By the way, if to all the people that like to stream on Twitch, I also have a Twitch account by Accountable Masculinity. I'm dropping the link in the chat now. Um, you guys, I would appreciate it if you know you save it, add it, and put it where you can get to it, and invite people to come to check out the channel. Because we're trying to reach audiences and on different platforms. As well. So these conversations, the more platforms we have to put them on, the better. So the um conversation is about like the evolution of the high value man conversation. You know what I'm saying? So like as we approach closer to the 30-minute mark, because I don't want to drill this too much, I want to start talking about, as we closer to the 30-minute mark, I want to start having um the conversation about where it actually is now, because
Where what is now?
the definition, the what's the conversation surrounding um the high value man as it pertains to social media, because we talked about the Kevin Samuels piece of it, because
Right.
that's how we defining it, that's where it came from, right? How do you see people misusing the high value man definition as it pertains to social media, and what have you seen, um how have you seen it impact the individual?
The only thing that's on social media about the high value man, the only thing, and I'm talking about a guy that draws 12 hours a day, sometimes 14, listening. The only thing that they talk about in high value man is women, and can they get one? And if that woman is a, that's all it
Yeah,
is. Women, and can they get one?
man, hey, good observation, I swear. Like,
Nothing else. Nothing else. Because all these men say they want a good woman. They want a good woman. A good woman costs money. You want a dime, it costs money. It
mhm.
does. But even if you, why can't a woman? I want to know why a woman can't be high value. Because a woman can be high value. She's got her shit together, and she really doesn't need you, but she wants you.
I think what makes a person's value high is is she valuable to someone else?
I
Because like
I think
like
it makes you high when you have your shit together, like all of
well,
it together, and you're going in that direction.
I mean, like for like I would say this in general, that's just being responsible for what you're responsible for. You
Right.
know, like you're supposed to have it together. You know, even
Well,
when you
look how many people we done brought on this show, and these men are saying, "Well, I still have to try to figure myself out. I'm still looking." Man, I'm looking at you going like you in your 40s and you still searching.
well in that situation, I think that that's hit or miss. I don't really bring people on this show that can't add value to the solution part of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that it keeps the content, like very very specific in terms of, hey man, we're not life counselors. You know what I'm saying? We have opinions about what we think. But like the minute that you start getting into that, you got to book like some one-on-one sessions because you can't really map out a person's complete and total mindset from, you know what I'm saying, from an hour and a half a set of video clips, you know what I'm saying, from somebody, you know. Um, but but I want to say this about the high value woman theory that you're talking about, right? There's a lady named Kissy Denise who actually wrote a book called A High Value Woman, and Kevin Samuels consulted her before he got his channel up and going, and you know, trying to figure out how to diversify his market or whatever. And he took the high value woman concept and made the high value man concept.
Right.
So
Like I
he,
consider Candace Owens a high value woman.
well, I mean, as you should, you know what I'm saying.
She
I
is.
think
She's educated, smart. She cannot have her money and still be who she is and still have the knowledge.
I think the most important part about somebody being high value anything is about influence.
Exactly.
If you can't influence anybody, nobody knows who you are.
That's a compartment of it because you can influence people and be an ass and nobody wants to be around you, but they'll take your information, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like it's everything put together that just signifies that you are on the right track and you're building and you're growing. You got a head on your shoulders, you're stable, and that you're working towards your goals. That's high value. Now, if you add the money on top of it, okay, that's fine. Yes, you can. You can. And money is a part of it. But that's the lifestyle part.
Well,
That's the lifestyle part.
I don't have any pushback. I'll tell you like the way I look at things because I know what I
Mhm.
want. Um, I don't think I think influence is necessary, but if you're working towards your goal and until you accomplish it, is not it hasn't been actualized yet. Because I want to be careful when I'm saying this. I don't want to make it sound like just because you're working on your goals and you haven't gotten there yet, that's not, you know what I'm saying, a mark of, you know what I'm saying, progress. Because anything that's, you know what I'm saying, progress is progress. But what we don't want to do is make potential the goal. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Because
no,
you know what I'm saying? Like I
no.
want to have a conversation that talks about motivating men to work to cash in on their experience. I want to get paid for my experience at this stage. You know what I'm saying?
Why
And,
wouldn't you? What
yeah,
man
and that's my point. It's like getting paid for your experience is what it's about. You know,
why wouldn't any man why wouldn't see that then why wouldn't any man or any person want to better themselves so they become an asset and their product sells? Like why wouldn't you want to be that person? You
mhm,
know, like a plumber is a plumber, but then he becomes the best plumber and everybody wants him. Now his schedule changes and now he has to accommodate so many more people and his prices go up because he's that good. He's
yeah,
not just a simple plumber fixing toilets anymore. Now he's a specialist. So he should always be thriving. And when you thrive and become what you are and the best in your field, you're going to be compensated for that. There's going to be a lifestyle behind that. Now he's
mhm,
so good that now he's sitting behind the desk and he's giving the work to other plumbers, but making them the best version of themselves in their job. Why wouldn't you want? If I was any woman, I wouldn't want a man that does not want that.
yeah.
I don't understand why would a woman want that? I don't believe in struggle love. I believe in struggle love, but you're struggling to get to a better place, not struggle love just to stay stagnant. Like why? I don't want a woman as a hinder that hinders me. What purpose would that serve me? The sex is going to be great, but I can get that everywhere. But
Mm.
people have to serve a purpose in your life, or why are they there?
Well, I was about to say, like, I think that's the other thing. You have to be a man of service as well. But let's look at this comment real quick from Eugene Alexander. Shout out to Eugene. He says, "High value man was only high value, was only for men, but not high value." Hold on, let me read this again. HVM was only HVM for men, but not when it comes to women. So
That's what we said.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, the social media
Yeah.
interpretation of this is like, to me, I think there's a lot of things that's implied. Because somebody was saying that there's no such thing as a high value woman. I'm like, if you're high value, then the woman that's for you is valuable to you. Value is about is who are you useful to? Who wants to invest their time, energy, and emotions into you? You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's plenty of people that's out here that do not have what it takes to be healthy, but be a healthy partner in a relationship, right? So their value for a relationship is not there if you're not getting the outcome that you want, you know. But everybody's valuable to an extent. But the thing is, this is about being valuable to who, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the part where I believe that the definition of value keeps getting lost. You know what I'm saying? So because you got to be useful to somebody else besides your kids, and besides your regular responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? Because that just makes you responsible. You know, so I think that part of this high value conversation gets lost because people don't really know the definition of value.
How can you not know the definition of
It's
value?
easy. This is a communication block.
Dude, listen, man, you can't.
Like everybody's.
Sometimes you got to do your homework, man. Like, where do you
Yep.
want to be? Like, yeah, when people talk like that, that's when you're just like, let me come down. Let me come. You know what? Let me not be so harsh on a person that doesn't know, right? Because
Hmm.
and I just don't want to really deal with those people. And when I say I don't want to deal with them, meaning if we're having a conversation about bettering yourself, and you don't know the simple thing to, let's say, educate yourself and say, okay, where do I want to be in life? You're,
Hmm.
you're you're creating your own environment then, right? Because now you're not who I want to hang around with because you don't serve a purpose.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like people say, "Oh, he's gonna make a good friend." I got enough friends. I don't need them anymore. I got enough friends. I don't need anymore. I don't mind having them, but I don't need anymore. Right?
Yeah.
At some point in your life, people become. At some point in your life, people need to serve a purpose in it. It's because time
Agreed.
is money. Time is money.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? If I take 2 hours to go out to dinner with you, you got to serve a purpose for that dinner. Also, why
Yeah.
am I spending my money? I can get entertained with a movie and a nice meal at home. But you're
Yeah.
serving that purpose because you're having a conversation with me. We're dining. Hopefully, I get lucky. I don't know, but it's great to have company over dinner. That's the purpose for that, right? You
Yeah.
didn't get one over on me. It's just dinner. And if you can't afford dinner, I don't know.
Yeah. So
Right?
so like Eugene has this comment too. Said if a woman considers you to have weak sex or erectile dysfunction, she doesn't consider you high value. And the thing
Oh, yeah.
is,
Stop.
well,
What
well, well,
woman is that? Anyway?
I think what he's just saying. I'm not gonna say what I think he's saying, but how I interpret this is that um, if you can have everything, but if you're missing the piece that's important to her, you don't have the value that you think you have. That's
Let me tell
that's
you
what I.
something. If sex determines your relationship, or you can't teach that person, or that person not willing to learn, if that person not willing to learn to up the game, that's different. But if you're basing your relationship on sex, that's exactly why you're at where you're at. That's exactly why you're a baby mama at best. That's exactly why you're a deadbeat dad.
Hmm.
Because you're
Yeah.
hitting it, quitting it. That's exactly why you are. Because you're thinking with the wrong head. You're just
Exactly.
thinking with the wrong head. That's
And
that's that's
what do
black.
we
That's
call it?
black women talk. There, sex is a big thing. He's got to have a big dick.
Eh, Hey, what do we call it? That's a lack of sexual
Accountability.
discipline. You almost
Sexual discipline. I mean, look, that's stupid talk.
yeah.
That's like black woman shit. I don't talk like that.
I, I
If you can talk to me about how I am in the bedroom as a woman, you already turned me off because that means I'm not the first man you laid it out for like that. So you've been hit already. Like
I don't
that's beneath me.
I don't think he's looking at it that way.
I
I
hope
think
not.
he no. He was just saying that this is like value is about who are you useful to. Okay. He just threw, I think I took it that he just brought up an example. Like you can have everything together, but if you're missing this one thing, then you don't have it. It's like, okay, for instance, right? Let's say if you found this lady
But you're
attractive.
already missing one thing, the
Oh,
10K.
hear what we're
Okay.
just talking about value without the money. Okay. We're
Okay.
talking about you got to have the tools to be in a relationship to begin with if you're going to talk about a relationship. And part of the tools of being in a relationship outside of foundational needs like money and all that other stuff is that you have to have a level of compatibility with each other. Compatibility not being there means that you can't really maximize your relationship. So the value that you have in the relationship is only as consistent as where you're compatible at. So if you're incompatible with, I don't know, maybe like for this example, he brought up the sex piece. If you got an issue with that, if you got a physical issue, if you got something that keeps you out of the picture and doesn't allow you to be an active participant, you're not valuable. It's just like the best ability is
Oh,
availability, right?
there goes every virgin.
Yeah.
She don't have no experience. She don't even know how to do it right. So
No,
that's
no,
right there.
no, it's not that. So
Oh,
like let me give you let me give you an example that fits kind of the some of the conversations that I believe that you and I have had like both on stage and off, right? Let's just say you meet a woman. We already giving you the utopian woman. She's the artist. She's earned your respect. The same lady, right?
right.
And then she's waited, for a length of time because you already anticipate that she's going to have a kid too, right? But what if and I know you've always been open to being, like, I know you've opened that part of you up to potentially having to deal with kids, you know what I'm saying? Because you want your own kids too. And let's say she has a 4-year-old, and I already know your criteria. As long as the baby father's out the picture and all of that stuff, it's cool. As long as you can adopt, and do your fatherly duties without having to look over your shoulder, you're all the way in the game, right?
Yeah.
But if she wasn't going to, if she had everything else but wouldn't let you adopt, then what?
I wouldn't be with her.
So you
That's
see what I'm saying?
but I'm getting married. My main criteria to get married is to have kids.
That's my point. She can have everything else, but if that one thing doesn't pass, you know what I'm saying, the test for you, because you know what you know what your deal breakers are,
Right.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, your value is relative to the other person's deal breakers.
Yeah, but I just don't think physical. I don't think when we talk about sex and his dick has to be a certain size and break it down and all that shit. That's
No,
like I just think that's just stupid because that's not
well,
longevity. Gravity
that
comes
might,
to us all. You are gonna those tits will become saggy.
but that's what's important to the other person, though, and
Okay,
that's
so
where it lays.
then
But then that's where we get to compatibility, is what I'm saying. If it might sound frivolous to one person, but it means it's the deal breaker for the other person.
then that's superficial, right? Because
Not
that's not
necessarily.
being realistic. Because eventually gravity will come to us all. So what are you going to do? Trade her in for a newer model?
Well, I'm looking at it from the idea of what's important to the other person. That's what value is about. Do you feel the value? Do you feel the prerequisite of what the other person needs? It's like applying for a job. If you know how to do Excel or you don't know how to do Excel, is it a deal breaker for the boss? Might
But it's
be.
realistic. We're talking. Let's talk. Okay, those are realistic terms, right? Sex and compatibility with sex. Those are superficial terms because first of all, you wouldn't marry a virgin because she don't know nothing, and she's going to be the worst thing in the beginning. Are you
It
compatible
depends.
then? Are you
No,
compatible then? Are you
no,
willing to hang in there?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think most people, if they would marry a virgin, they come with that implied. I think the men that want
I wouldn't want one. Shit.
that's the point. A virgin wouldn't be valuable to you.
Will be what?
A virgin wouldn't be valuable to you because it's
No,
not
but
desirable.
I
You see
value
what I'm saying?
experience. I value experience, and I'm not saying in a 304, but I value
I know.
experience.
Yeah, it's certain things that you want off the bat, and that's my point. This
Right.
is about being qualified and compatible with the person that you want to be with. And again, I think, yeah, you got like a baseline standard of what you want, and then there's reality. Then when you
Yeah,
deal with
reality is
reality,
like if she says she's really not into sex, and she's really not into sex, or she's really not into having sex, or that's okay right there. That's realistic. She's not into it, but you're a very sexual person.
yeah,
She
that's
is.
what I'm saying.
Right there, you're going to be fighting. But the whole intricacies of it is what I say is stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
but like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I get it, and that's my point. It gets nuanced. Like when we start talking about what value is relative to who you're compatible with, because what's a deal breaker for you may be, may not be somebody else's deal breaker.
I
You know,
understand that. Oh, I'm realistic to that.
so like value is very subjective, especially when we talk about money. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we talk about um what we are attracted to, lifestyle. Like some people can live with making. Some people don't need to make $100,000. Some people don't need to make $80,000 to live like
Oh,
kings.
that's
You know what I'm
cool.
saying?
I can understand that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, like yeah, some people.
That's
You know
fine.
what I'm saying? Because like
I still wouldn't consider them not high value.
well, the thing is like as long high value value in terms of a relationship
Okay.
is relative to who likes it.
Right.
Because like you can't you like for instance you couldn't tell my wife that I'm not valuable because like my relationship with my wife is between us. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I can
And
understand.
and just because like somebody else probably wouldn't be attracted to me or attracted to her, that don't mean my wife got less value. That don't mean I got less value. I'm
Right,
valuable to
right.
the
To
people
each
I'm
his
supposed to be
own. To
valuable
each his own. To each his own.
because like it's not like the falsity in the conversation. Like for instance, right? I believe that the high value man conversation amongst men that have the value off is the same as all of these women running around here talking about they tens when they really five below. You know what I'm saying? They can say the same thing about, and I think that's where it is. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the women that think that they're tens and they're not. Then you got the high value men that use somebody else's vetting criteria to put someone else in the, in their proverbial place.
Mhm.
So I think, like if reality is this, a lot of people perceive themselves outside of their means and they don't really understand their value. Like living above your means, there's a big difference when something happens to, you know what I'm saying, to your lifestyle that you can't control.
Right,
It's a big difference in that versus, like you're pretending to be something you're not. You are, your entire identity comes from some YouTube comments. That's way different. You know what I'm saying? But
right,
like if you got life outside of social media, outside of um, what you show other people, because we only show people the highlight reel. We don't get on social media talking about our, what I'm saying, issues with relatives, parents, and and then things in our insecurities or whatever. We either putting out information, like I know as far as I'm concerned, I put out information that's relative to um, producing content every week. You know what I'm saying? To sit down
right.
and knock these topics out and promote accountable masculinity. Let me say this right here. This right here, when you start doing this and you start packaging your philosophy into a product, this is how you capture your value. This is how you get paid off your experience right here. Are you just talking or are you actually producing something that somebody can learn from? You know what I'm saying? And if
Right.
nobody can learn from you in a healthy way to change their outcomes, what is your value?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you helping? So, like, look at that Uncle Junior's comment. Some will pay 1 million for a car, and some will say it's too much. Like you said last week, Antoine, the Mona Lisa is as valuable as someone is willing to pay for it. You can't paint it better. You can
Yep.
paint it better. Yep.
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 You know what I mean? But so people have to understand. I think that it all depends on like I said, it all depends on how and what you want, right? But you got to be realistic in your expectations. That's all. Just be realistic in your expectations. Don't expect not unless Kevin Hart wasn't Kevin Hart, his wife wouldn't be 6 feet. Like he wouldn't get that. Like he wouldn't
Yeah.
get it. That would be an anomaly. He wouldn't get
Mm-hmm.
it. Okay, a guy that's shorter than me. His wife's 6 foot. You think if he wasn't Kevin Hart, he would get that? No. So I'm just saying, like, minus the celebrities and basketball players and all that shit, you just have
I,
to be realistic in your expectations. But high value does not only pertain to money. High values, I believe, is a man that's got his shit together and is going places.
yeah, I believe that too. I do believe. I think he has to have benchmarks. Like
Yeah,
he has to be like for instance, like even me. Hold on, I'm promoting a book today. That's what we do. So like if I was having this conversation, like I remember how much I talked about this before I
yeah,
actually turned it into a book,
right,
and when I was saying it, it was just like we were so familiar with each other. You know how I think to some degree. You can kind of take a guess on the steps in which I'm going to because I'm always going to stay in bounds. You know what I'm saying? But
okay,
then when I decided to, saying form this content into an actual piece of literary work, um, it's because if you can repeat it enough times, then why not package it where other people can, observe your art because
right,
this is what you're doing. You're taking your intellectual property and creating a product that other people can use.
right,
That's what
right,
this is
right,
about. Just like the art that you see in your head, the way you you paint different depending on the colors you use, right?
right.
Um, and if you have an affinity for a certain type of color, then your art is going to have its signature no matter what.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
so I think ultimately in this space as far as content is concerned, um you got to have a brand at some point.
Yeah,
And I think that's the part that captures your value and distinguishes you from someone that's just got, you know, an opinion and they just jumping in, not really leading anything.
hold
They
on one second.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. So I think that is a big deal for as far as what value is when it comes down to capturing, what you're invested in. If you're invested in a better version of yourself, if you're invested in producing something um, that really captures your experience, and other people can benefit from it, from the work and the thought that you put into it, I think that is also very useful as well. Let me see what we got. Yep. Having your life in order is fundamental. Every man should have his act together. However, many women are also attracted to men who are into sex, hygiene, fashion, and men who are extroverted. Um, yeah, I believe that again, compatibility. There's plenty of women out there um that want a man to have an adventurous side, not willing to take chances and do some different activities and create some experiences. And there's some men that don't care about being outside. There's some men that don't care about traveling, don't care about having new experiences. Some people they don't deviate very much. They want someone to make their current situation in life or the current space in life just very comfortable. Uh, and then that might be a deal breaker for somebody else. There's been plenty of times where going back to the compatibility piece that we were talking about before is if you're an extroverted person and the other person is introverted, who's valuable to who? And maybe you're more hybrid. Maybe you got less introverted areas about yourself. You might be a hybrid. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what it is? But the bottom line is that you have to have compatibility to have your value, like somewhat validated. Because there's a difference between having an overinflated ego, uh, decent self-esteem, and confidence. Until you can actually test that alongside someone that shows interest in you, you just rest in potential for somebody else to either be good with or bad with. So I think that's the compatibility piece. We'll see. What about a woman who has her life together and makes her own money? she might not be concerned with all that. Yeah, exactly. Like I again, this is about compatibility. Um, I think that if a man doesn't make as much as a woman, I don't think that that's a bad thing either, because if he's complimentary to her, or if she's complimentary to him, and nobody is like being a burden or a liability, if you can actually put your resources and know-how together, then you can make a pretty good team. And then this this discussion about the high value man, and then with Eugene talking about the high value woman, if it's a relationship, then we need to make the relationship valuable. It's not just about the individuals and what they individually know how to do. If you're in a relationship, if that's more important than the people that fit what I'm talking about behavior wise, they're just competitive and they're in an unhealthy competition. Because I think a lot of us, any one of us that's got a lot of dating experience or relationship experience, we can compare our better relationships to each. We can compare your relationships to each other and see which ones were healthier for you and which ones were not, which ones you showed up less in. And I think you got to talk about that. The ones that you showed up less in simply because you had your limitations. You had some trust issues. Because of how you vetted. What I'm saying, the other person determines how much of you want to show up. So if she got a life together and she moving in ways where you can learn from it, that's the person you're supposed to be with anyway. Because if you can't learn more about yourself from the person that you're with, is that person valuable to you? Mm. That's what I always go to, because when you take away all the surface stuff, the money, like, do you actually like the person? Liking the person makes them valuable too. Because even if you love them, you still got to like them. And plenty of people love somebody that they don't like either, and that's the only thing that keep them, what I'm saying, in the relationship. You know, I think a lot of times when people talk about fidelity, they cheat on people they don't like. They might love them, but they just don't like them. They don't like them enough to not cheat on them. If they got a fidelity issue, if they already have a known fidelity issue, let that person not like them. All of that becomes a deal breaker. But nobody talks about that to the way that to the point that it has to make sense to them, because this is where a lot of the stigmas come from, I believe, where you see some women that say all men cheat. No, the men that cheat on you just don't like you, and the men that don't cheat on you, the men that don't cheat on a woman, they like their woman. They wouldn't want to do that to them. So the individual, how they rationalize that, but it takes being honest with yourself. And most people don't want to look at their significant other, say, you know what, I don't like you. They're just like, I'm just gonna go ahead and deal with this other person for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because they make, they pacify me in a nice way, and then make it transactional, because you make transactional decisions to supplement the thing that's not working for you. But I don't think that a healthy, discipline-minded person is going to be going to live a lifestyle that pivots off of being dishonest to the person that they're supposed to trust in the same bed. So I believe that a lot of these things are relative. You got to be useful to each other in ways um, that that are really healthy. You know what I'm saying? Things that enhance the stuff that you're already good at. I think what makes you valuable is what makes a person valuable to you is that, do they enhance the best things about you? Do they make you want to go improve yourself? Can you learn from them? If you can't learn anything from them, it's not going to be a rewarding experience, when it comes down to the compatibility in the relationship. And then you're going to always be looking for it somewhere else. So value is about, where you the best version of you with this particular individual. Where where do you create inspiration for the other person? and allowing them to inspire you too. And that's not an easy thing. Once you get a little bit older, you get a little stuck in your ways, and you're not going to be as unstructured about how you allow a person to help you. So um, making our own money and not being concerned with all the high value stuff, that's the thing that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take you're supposed to take something off each other's plate. That's really what it is. You shouldn't have to worry about cooking and washing the dishes and sweeping the floor and taking the trash out. If you were somewhat hosting an event, you shouldn't be a one man band and nothing, and you should be um, happy to let certain tasks go if you got somebody that wants to see you win and somebody that wants to see you be successful. And these things um, aren't talked about enough, and sometimes we mess up like the chemistry or the connectivity in a relationship for not participating or not being a willing participant. um and I do understand that trust issues keep people from being willing to participate and exchange you know at a, what's the word I'm looking for, you have to be able to trade work with each other. And if you got nothing to trade, then you're not valuable. That's just it. You're not valuable to that person, and it doesn't mean that your individual value is low. It just means that you're you shopping with a different currency than the other person. Money is still money, but your money just doesn't spend the same way with that particular individual. Your currency doesn't spend. So it doesn't matter how valuable you are. What's the currency of that market? That's important. If you taking US dollars in a place that only accept euros, yeah, your dollar's still valuable, but it just don't spend here. So you have to look at um the compatibility factor, you know what I'm saying? And what's your currency exchange rate? If your currency exchange rate
Sorry.
is yeah, you good. If you're like, I was just talking about making a connection with when I talk about compatibility and expanding on that, right? Because like this question was like, what about a woman who has a life together and makes her own money? She might not be concerned with all the high value stuff. That's right. So
What
like
woman is not into hypergamy?
let me finish. Let me finish before you jump in. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is like this is utopia. You know how to give you
Okay. Okay.
utopia.
Okay.
This is utopia. Every Wednesday, this is utopia because all things are true. Okay. She takes care, like, okay, this is where she takes care of all of the things that you don't have to worry about anymore. Because in a relationship, you share based on, what I'm saying, what resources you bring to the relationship. You know what I'm saying? The relationship is the table, not you the table, not her the table, the relationship's the table. And if we're gonna make this work, we gotta be transparent about what we do best and what we need to be, what I'm saying, balanced out on, right? So if you look at each other where the parts where she needs to lean on you, all she got to do is be ready to participate. And the exchange and the currency in that is her ability to participate. And so I was making an analogy like uh to go back to the point where like the things that are deal breakers, right? If one thing's a deal breaker to each other, right? That doesn't mean you're not valuable. That just means you don't have the right currency that this particular situation requires. You got US dollars and she need euros. That doesn't mean your US dollar is invaluable. It's just not compatible for this transaction. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying when we start talking about value and not necessarily just calling ourselves money, but this is about our value in terms of exchange. You know what I'm
If you're
saying?
talking about it within the confines of a relationship, yes, I agree.
That's what I'm talking about, because we're not talking about money. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, you can only have the relationship you can afford, and it has nothing to do with money. This is the conversation that captures, you know what I'm saying, that phrase that I operate by. Is because there's some places out here your money can't even get you access certain things. You can't you know what I'm saying, if you can't talk to people a certain type of way, you don't get to figure out if you like each other or not, because, you know, they don't like the way that you deliver yourself. So we have to be careful about what the other person values.
Right. That's if you're interested in them, right?
If you're interested in them, yeah. But even if you take the romance part out, right? And let's talk about basic friendships, business relationships. You can't establish trust if you don't understand the language of the other person.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you don't understand that, like you're from Trinidad, there might be something in you know what I'm saying, in your native tongue, you know what I'm saying, that has to be said a certain type of way. And even if I'm trying and being in my being the best, you know, being sincere about it, if I say it the wrong way, it's gonna be perceived, you know what I'm saying, negatively, right?
Right.
So that's when I'm like, if I'm not certain, I'm fixing to ask Antoine to translate, because we all need a translator somewhere. Because there's some things that we can say better. We're not perfect. So what's the point of being in a relationship to just act like you perfect?
Well, I don't believe you should act like you're perfect, because your significant other would know otherwise. But
Mm-hmm.
I think you should act like how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think I think you should act like how you want to be treated. But like I said, let's be realistic. You know, there's if you're talking about a real relationship, there's certain things that certain people look for in a relationship. If you're a high value man, you have to come with a certain package. But don't have unreal. You can't expect that package when you don't even look the part. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
Before you even, men are visual, women are emotional. Men are visual. We're visual creatures. We don't walk over to you because we say, "Oh wow, what an interesting brain she has." So, right, the first compartment is obviously looks and how you take care of yourself. If you don't look the part of the type of man you want to attract, what I mean, it's not going to happen. That's being unrealistic. You can have all your shit together and still not get what you want.
I would only push back and say this right here. I don't like the idea that men are just the only ones that's visual. Women are visual too.
No, but
They
we come on now.
no. Well,
Of
what I'm
course,
saying,
women are visual, but you know,
what I'm saying is that from the initial get go, there's no emotions involved. It's all about optics. Everything's all optics based until you have to show who you are. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
but men,
Because
okay,
do women not see, like this is the thing, when men talk about the toys, the jewelry, and all that stuff, you don't think women look at that stuff, and you know, women see what how men display themselves, and that's part of the reason why optics are important. But in the women have to be visual. Women are absolutely more visual than men too,
yes,
because
but men. When I
and here's why I'm saying that, because all you have to do is look at how women judge and criticize other women.
But that's within their thing. But a man could go to Target and get the hottest broad behind a cashier because she's hot. A woman ain't doing that.
Oh, of course not, because
Okay,
that's
that's my
that,
point.
and that's the part that makes her visual too. We both agree.
No,
If
because if the guy has deep pockets and he's not all that, he's gonna get what he wants from her because she
well,
wants something from him too.
oh, I'm not.
They're more on the aesthetic side.
Well, what I'm saying is the reason that women are visual, as men, if not more, is that just like you said, if he's working at Target, she can't see him.
Right.
But if he was outside of Target with the right shirt on and getting out the right car, now she sees him. So that's optics.
Exactly. Right car.
Perception.
Come on, man. There's
I'm,
something there that she's looking at besides his looks.
I mean, you're saying exactly what I'm saying.
I know, but I'm just saying, men are we look towards that first. We like that hotness. We like that sexy, younger, hotter, and fresher. The more money we make, the more younger and hotter, fresher they are. If we get divorced, we ain't looking for the woman the same age that we just divorced. It's not going to be like that.
I believe.
Like, that's craziness, right? Because you don't see these millionaires getting divorced and then going after a wife that's in their 60s.
Well, yeah,
They're
you're right.
gonna they're going to go younger, hotter, and fresher. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
A
Uh,
man, a man to be with a younger woman, it looks good. A woman with a younger man, a cougar thing,
I think
is cringeworthy.
until you got you can't even get to the point where you establish equity in the relationship if the optics aren't there.
Right,
Because for both people, like you have to be uh, somewhat desirable. You know,
right. I agree with
you have
that.
you have to have you have to like create mystique and intrigue. Women are supposed to have mystique, and men are supposed to have intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right, I agree with
because like women live on expectation, and expectation is about the vision in her head, right?
that.
And men live on experience because you have to know how to approach a woman. It doesn't matter if she's attractive, if you sound like it's your first time talking to a woman every time you talk to a woman. If you're what I'm saying, you start short circuiting and you can't get your words out. It's only so many times that somebody gonna think that that's cute. You know what I'm saying? Before they're like, oh yeah, this cat, he don't know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's scared of
Right,
me, so I'm not even attracted to him. So the thing is that a man's experience with rejection sharpens his delivery. He knows what to say and how to market himself right then and there at that moment. His experience is what she's going to be able to tell, about what she wants. His experience sets the conditions to validate her expectations. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Because the most important thing from the get-go until a woman really gets emotionally invested into you is, can you fulfill her expectations that she got in her head that you don't know, that you don't even know about?
Well, you
Because
should. Like I said, that's it. That's again, that's getting to know that person and
Mhm.
hearing
Yeah,
what they want.
yeah,
But everybody knows, as a man, we all know looks and height goes out the window when you're standing on your wallet. For women, it's not like that.
yeah, because
Okay,
women have
you can have a girl that's 220 pounds making 100K. She ain't looking at a man unless he's making 200K.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I can't. I know what you're saying on that because if she's making, yeah,
She ain't gonna breathe in this direction,
because because it,
and she don't even look like a woman making 200K for a man.
from the optic standpoint, yeah, absolutely. Like until you start
That's all I'm
talking about,
saying.
yeah, until you get emotionally invested enough in each other's intrigue and expectations and figure out, this is something I want to invest my time into. Then yeah, all you got is like the surface optics and things that are really easy to break the deal right away. You know what I'm saying? So I agree that that looks matter. It's not that we're saying that looks don't matter. I think that men and women have to have a better conversation than just saying who's emotional or not. I don't
Yeah,
think
I agree with you on that.
like because
Wholeheartedly.
like yeah, because from the get go, like if you don't know her, how is she gonna be emotional? You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, but I believe emotions are more easily captured without being offensive by saying I believe women live on expectations because men have to make assurances for a woman to be interested in being in a relationship. So the assurances you make either validate or invalidate her expectations of you.
But I think that's what, in a sense, like for me, that's why I believe social media killed relationships as far as relationships being authentic.
Hmm.
The social media killed it. Before, you had to put effort. You had to actually call the person. You actually had to go over to their house. You actually had to meet. I mean, it was a deeper understanding and a deeper coming together than today. It's a swipe left, swipe right. Not just visual. Nothing else matters, right? And
Hmm.
we'll find out what he makes later when he takes me out for dinner or some shit. But
Yeah.
back then, it was more organic, and I
Well,
think, and today it's not. And unfortunately, people aren't willing to give that person a chance based on how they look, and it's unfortunate because that person may be the perfect person for you.
well, while that may be true, um, I don't have any pushback, but I have another angle to look at it. I
Okay.
believe that social media um, accelerated how broken our communication is from an interpersonal level
I think so.
because
Broke
uh,
that.
you know what I'm saying? Because I can't. I'm not a person to give technology more power than it should have, Because like if you say social media mess things up, right? It's like saying somebody had a weapon in the house and the weapon got up and started hurting people, right? Or did the weapon start hurting people, or did somebody use the weapon and hurt people? And I think that a lack of media literacy, coupled with a lack of interpersonal skills, went from people that was really shy, that don't know how to communicate, can't shake hands with a strong handshake, look somebody in the eye. Now they get to hide behind emojis. Now they get to hide behind, a DM, and it's real easy to like miscommunicate, and then people quit and they just delete you out of their life, and it's like got that person out the way, So in a lot of cases, I believe social media has enabled people with weak interpersonal skills to become spam to each other,
True.
get easily annoyed, and we don't take following back up as seriously as we should. You know what I'm saying? Because we um, I think it enables people to blow people off. You know what I'm saying? And so that starts to reflect in the way that we engage with each other when we're just outside walking around, and
Right.
then
Right.
trying to, what I'm saying, figure out if this person is ready to reciprocate what I have to offer.
That's true. But I think a solution. See, that's why I think a solution, and at least my opinion, because that's how people are meeting today, right? I
Mm,
mean, number one apps are, one way to meet people is been proven. It's dating apps and meetups and all that sort of stuff. It's just the way it is now today, And I just think in order for the solution is giving everybody a chance who you talk to.
mm,
Yes, go off visual. I'm not saying don't go after the fugly ones. I'm not saying that, but you got to give people a chance to talk to them. You know, you
mm,
have, or else you're not going to fix it. And I think if you start giving people a more of a chance beyond the looks to talk to them and have a conversation with them, you know,
mm. Why are some high value men single even though they do not want to be?
because I think that their option, because they have so many options, they don't want to pick. They can't pick. Period. They can't pick because you can, a person that has everything. It's really hard to reach them. They have everything. There's nothing you can surprise them with. There's always somebody willing to do the heavy lifting for them. What you won't do, that person will. And I think that because they have so much variety, and that's why they say, and I think it's so stupid, they exercise their options. And I think any woman that goes with a man that says he has to be able to exercise her options, that just tells me about you as a woman, because that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And I
Um,
don't,
I,
absolutely
I
ridiculous.
would say, if I had to take a stab at it, why are some high value men single even though they do not want to be? I think it's trust issues.
What?
Yeah, like look at it from this angle, right? Just because if you got a bunch of options, right?
Yeah, I
And,
mean,
and the reason you got options because and you can't choose is because they're each one of them got a different deal breaker.
right,
And then so when you start going like no different than what I'm saying than women when like look at it from the woman's perspective, right? How we look at women that have multiple children out of wedlock with multiple men. At some point they trusted something, you know what I'm saying? And whether it's but ultimately their lack of trust is an internal conflict that they haven't reconciled. This is why people talk about going to therapy so much, man. You see a lot of people walking around that have not balanced their egos. They haven't balanced their expectations, and money can't do that for you. Money just gives you more access to to fulfill your vices. You know what I'm saying? Your
right.
insecurity. So, like, let's just say if most men do not have, like, let's just talk about men that there are men with no money that can get any woman they want. You know,
What?
there are men with no money that can get not woman they want, but they can get female attention from women
Oh, okay.
whenever they want it. Okay,
Yeah, 'cause I'm like,
okay. So that's not the same as the woman that they want. You know, so like these guys, they can have money and they can have all the access and stuff, and they'll have no problem, you know what I'm saying, with attracting women, but maybe they can't attract the woman that they want. It's no different than a lot of these educated women that's, you know what I'm saying, on the independent narrative that believe that they high value, to believe they can get any man they want when they turn 50.
They
And
can get any man they want. Any man to fuck them.
that,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot. I believe that there's a lot of men out here who only have sexual options too.
Yeah, of course. Listen, we are talking about a quality relationship. Like I'm looking for, I could say I can look for a quality relationship. Been there, did that, done it. Now I'm looking for a quality relationship. So there's no fulfillment in the sex area that I'm more concerned about more than the compatibility. Can we build together? Can we grow together? Can we do things together? Can we, can we sustain a long, healthy lifestyle together? Because I know looks fade, right? Gravity comes to us all. It will. So there's a different, when you get to a different mindset, you look at things differently. But man is not meant to be alone. So I don't know what all these women are talking about. They're talking like that now because their beauty is present. But when their beauty starts to fade and they look left and right and the options dry out, I wouldn't want to be that woman.
Well, I think this is the thing though. Those women are only speaking from
Out of fear.
out of fear, scarcity,
Mm-hmm.
relative to the experiences that they've had. And the thing is that once a woman goes from living in her expectations to living off of her experience and basing her chances for a relationship off of, you know, different metrics, is only so long that they have to lean on experience, because all you have is feelings until you get the facts, and all you have is expectations until you have the experience.
Okay,
So
but I have to admit, honestly, when a woman gets to a certain age and she tells me she doesn't want a man, I just automatically, that tells me, no, the man you want doesn't want you. That's why
well,
you where you are at. And if a
okay,
man tells me that, if a man tells me, oh, I just can't find the woman I want, I'm like, no, dude, you
some,
can't get one.
but I believe that is only some. I believe that there's some men out there that can only attract sexual attention from women, and they still not getting the woman that they want either.
Right.
So I don't believe that
It's got to
it's.
be that balance.
I think it works in that situation. It absolutely works both ways. You know what I'm saying? Because um, every woman is not looking for, like, just like one of the questions that Eugene posed earlier about what if she don't care about the money stuff? What if she's already done all of that? Maybe, like, let's just say that, let's just say if, like, because like,
Utopia. Okay. Okay.
well, it's utopia, because like, have we not seen Cher dating some 26-year-old dude?
Yeah, but Cher's having fun in her old age.
Okay, whatever it is, her
Let's
options
not
ain't
talk
her
about
age.
celebrities. They're not real.
Yeah, but her options aren't her age.
Yeah,
You know.
we're talking share here, so
Okay,
we can't use
well,
celebrities.
okay. Let's not use celebrities then.
Please, let's not use
Let,
celebrities.
let's
We can't use
let's
them.
Okay.
They have too much money to not get access to what they want.
Do you think that women in their 50s that have already had children, don't want any more children, who do you think they're going to get the most attention from? Men their age, or younger men, or
I
older
think
men?
younger men for sex, older men for companionship.
That's my point. That's my point. So the woman's value to the dating market is different than it is her value to the mating market.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You got dating and then you got mating.
Right, right.
So if she's in her 50s and still she thinks she needs to be in the mating market, she ain't got the right currency.
True. We agree on that.
So
But,
you see,
but but that's what I'm trying to tell you, Vic. My whole argument is that, and I have to say it from this point of view because I can speak on the man's, but what women think, what women have unrealistic expectations on what they can attract and get.
living in expectations, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to. You're
Yeah.
not fine enough to. I mean, when they say they want a man making 100K, I go, have you? I mean, I see these. I mean, if you live here, my God, these women that crawl out of these men's cars, you don't even fucking come close. Your one leg is their two. Like you don't even come close to these guys making 100K and what you're supposed to look like. And then you want a guy, and then you got these ones that make 100K, and these 100K men don't want you because you don't suit their picture.
Well,
And people would come together if people are realistic in their expectation. I think that, like I said, I've made several changes in my life to be more realistic in it. Like I'm putting it out there realistically. Okay, Antoine, seriously, like come on, bro. Like you got to be realistic. The most women, the women you find most probably will have a kid. And I'm not talking a baby mama situation. I hope marriage is better because then it shows.
divorce. I think divorced women will probably be. I think that's what you'll need to look at. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
don't.
women that are, but I tell you, I'm because of my mindset, I'm attracting those types, which is thank God I'm having those
Well, this is the thing though. That's
you
when we
know?
get down into the dating and mating, right? Because in the type of woman that you're looking for to have the relationship that you want, and you want her to have some experience. And I think that's kind of implied. I don't think you want a 35 to 45-year-old woman that's a virgin. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, right. And if she has kids, that situation has to be under control under the right circumstances.
Right.
You still want to have your
And
kids.
like I said, I'm not hung up on that fence yet. I'm not sold yet, but I can honestly say, okay, yeah, I got to put circumstances around it.
So when it comes down to it, like we talked about the
'Cause no
50-year-old.
man really wants to take care of another man's mistake. No way.
Well, if she was divorced, it wasn't a mistake.
No, that's right. That's right. I respect when
So
women say they come from a divorce and they have kids. I so
that's
have
different. Like
because honestly, I think I blame the man sometimes because I'm like, dude, she married you for 20 years. I gotta ask why. What happened? And then I'll hear their both stories. I'm willing to hear her story more than somebody that's not married, that hasn't been married. I'm willing to hear their story more.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, the older you get, the less you talk about the things you don't want. So
Right.
why dwell on, you know what I'm saying, people you're not even attracted to? Because
Right.
like I believe that let me tell you why I think a lot of the confusion in the dating market comes from. A lot of the conflict in the dating conversations come from. I believe the main conflicts are between people that had children out of wedlock. The men that had their children out of wedlock and the women that had their children out of wedlock. There are women that's looking for men that don't have any kids, and there's men that's looking for women that don't have any kids. And they all and
And
both
the
sides.
numbers are different, right? The numbers are different, and so are the standards.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's the fewest amount of people making the most noise for what they don't qualify for.
Yeah.
That the main issue, the conflict is about somebody not getting what they want from the other person. That's what conflict is at a minimum. So
Right.
if you break down why the men are upset with their options, and if you break down why the women are upset with their options, that group of people has one thing in common. They already have kids with people that they didn't marry in most cases. And
Right.
so, because think about it, right? Think about how many different women, think about what you have to consider, right? What you like, man, I gotta consider dating a woman that's got some kids already, or because if she's already been married, she probably got some kids, right?
Right.
And then a woman your age, if a woman was your age and she was dating, what variables would she have to consider? Does she want to be a stepmom in her 50s? Does she or does she want to just have fun? If she just want to have fun, she gonna date the younger guys because she ain't gonna have no shortage of young men that want to jump down her drawers if she's still attractive. You know what I'm saying? Because most older women are gonna get attention from younger men that's looking for experience with a, you know what I'm saying, with a woman that's got herself put together, right?
Right.
And most women in their 50s are not going to attract an older man because they don't want to date an older man either. Just like men don't want to date or marry a woman above a certain age, depending on where he is in his life, you know, unless everything else lines up. And it depends on what the man wants. Like you want to date for the purpose of having children, the purpose of getting married and having children. That's what's on your agenda.
Right. Yeah.
But
I won't say I don't need to get married.
but going back to like the high value men being single and don't want to be is because they don't realize that they're tricks in most cases because they led with their wallet, they led with their assets, they bought
Undisciplined men.
Yep, they invested in the vanity of how they look. So like women being visual, like men, they say, well, that's the value of this particular individual. He likes having a good time, and I like being with him when he like having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Until you know what I'm saying the time ends, and they're very transactional in that aspect. So realistically, their options, like they can have any woman they want, they can have access to any woman they want, but the type of women that they attract based on the way they present themselves is gonna be a factor too. The same as women that are sexually undisciplined, twerking all over the gram or whatever they're doing, and showing their bodies everywhere. They only gonna attract sexual attention. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And those are the women that mostly have the engagement with the men that you know what I'm saying practice vanity practices. That's my take on it. You know what I'm saying? Because like, when's the last time that you've seen this conversation being had between men that are childless and single and women that are childless and single?
That's just it. That's not what makes money on the internet, though.
Well, we know that. That's what I'm saying. Like the argument on the internet is between people that can't accept what they qualify for.
Yes, and that's sad.
That's
The
re- so
unrealistic
that means so that
expectation.
means so that means you're in the wrong conversation. That means you might be looking at the wrong thing.
Well, that's no. That's remember I told you from the beginning. I said if you look on social media, that's
If
all
you
that.
keep it there, if you keep it there, and that's what I'm saying.
That's
Not
all that's
necessarily,
there. You know, all the
yeah.
shows that I used to like watching. That's why I don't watch it anymore because I
A
was
lot of
becoming dated in my thoughts and in my vision.
yeah, because a lot of people base their dating options off of what they see on social media
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have the interpersonal skills like I talked about before to go make themselves available to you know what I'm saying to meet someone. They don't know how to position themselves. And then now there's so many, the social media stigma has trickled down into real life because women are saying men don't even approach them anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well, have you
And
seen their faces to want to approach them? I wouldn't approach them either.
well, yeah, I mean, but women are looking to be approached and they're not even getting the attention anymore because the other part of that is that women got high on rejecting men. You know what I'm saying? And now they're not getting any of that attention. Well, they're not getting the attention that they used to getting. And I believe a lot of them, uh, from the older women, they just missed their window. And then from the younger women, they're not getting approached by uh, um, they're getting approached by older men. You know what I'm saying? Because the older men that want a younger woman, they're not going to stop pursuing the same younger women.
But
You
we
know what
can
I'm saying?
agree that listen, looks gets you over there. What comes out of your mouth determines if a man will stay.
Well, that's true too. But
You know,
sometimes, but
and
I think a lot of the younger women that's having interactions with men 20 years older than them,
well,
they
what do you want? What it all depends on what that woman wants. Listen, if you don't get a
if
guy
she
that's
if she
27,
if
she's
she
got to
between
be realistic. The guy that's 27, what he's gonna have.
well, what I'm saying is the women between the ages of 25 and 29 are single at a 62% rate. 62% of
That's,
those women are
that's
single.
unbelievably sad.
And then the men in that same age bracket of 25 to 29 are not even approaching them and they're playing video games. You see what I'm saying? And they're
But they're
getting
not
off.
a biological clock,
But the thing is, they're not even interested in each other because most women between the age of 25 and 29 are getting attention from men that are 40 to 49 years old
right?
because those women are going to be attracted to men that can do for them and show them an experience and you know what I'm saying but the men from ages 25 to 29 can't attract those women because the men older than them get what they want. It's like high school, right? The seniors get to you know what I'm saying have whatever woman that's out there. You know, the seniors have a better chance of dating any woman that they want from ninth all the way up. You know what I'm saying? Um, but if you the freshman dude, how are you going to attract the senior? You know what I'm saying? The most attractive senior female, right? You don't have anything that she cares about when she's already been around the guys that's in her class.
Right.
So unless you can get access to them, but if the guys don't come outside and they don't you know what I'm saying, make themselves available to get to know each other, then they're gonna lose interest. It's like going to a party and the DJ is trash. You know, how long you gonna
Yeah.
stay at the party?
Yeah. How are you gonna stay? Exactly. That's why I just don't understand. Like, what do people expect? What do they want?
Hmm. So
You know.
before we get ready to close out, man, because it's
Okay.
been a good conversation for
Yeah.
an hour and a half. Uh, the where do you think what do you think the next stage is? Because we talked about Kevin Samuels bringing the high value man conversation up. Then we talked about for the last, you know what I'm saying, 45 minutes about social media's influence on the definition of high value man. So where are we going next with it? What do you think the next stage of it is?
I don't know if this is a topic, but I do want to touch on something. I don't like the way men on social media are talking to women to have a productive conversation. I
Mm,
don't think they talk with them with
man,
respect.
that's good.
I don't think
That's
they
good.
talk. I don't think they talk to them with respect to engage in a realistic, solution based conversation. They treat them the way they talk and say, "Well, like you women just want us to clap your cheeks and all." No, dude. If you say that to a woman, you're offending her. You know that's not how you speak. Like you have to have a way, a demeanor.
There's a huge gap. There's a huge gap in respect for each other.
Yeah, like the way they talk to women. Like if you listen to these
It's
channels,
cringe.
the way
It's
that
pretty
it's
cringe.
cringeworthy, man. It's like if I was a woman, even if I'm a young, impressionable young, let's just say I do OnlyFans. Let's say I was a woman and I do OnlyFans, right?
Mm.
Young, impressionable, I do OnlyFans, and you talk to me like if I'm a 304. You think you're gonna have a productive conversation? No, because you're calling me literally a hoe, and so you can't expect me to answer logical questions about where do I see myself with married kids and all that. If you already look at me as a 304, I'm going to become. It's not. We're not going to have that conversation. And I think the way men and channels are talking to women, I have to. I'm not. And I know that there's a simp world out there. Really don't care. I know who I am as a man, and I'm going to say it. You're fucking disrespectful, bro. You men are
It's a
disrespectful.
lot of look, bro. It is a
You guys are
lot.
disrespectful. You're condescending. You're rude. You want a woman to submit. You don't got two pennies to rub together. You're not who you say you are, and you don't drive what you say you drive. And you talk to these women like if you're the shit. Brother, you got a fucking YouTube channel that's coming up. Relax.
Mhm.
Don't bring these impressionable young girls up there if you want to change them and talk to them like they're yesterday's newspaper. There's
Yeah,
I know they want to get on your channel for their 15 minutes of fame, but that just tells me about you. Why don't you bring like it's like a perfect example. I said it and I'll say it again. When Myron from Fresh and Fit brought on Candace Owens, he sat like a puppy with his tail between his legs, and he looked like a deer in headlights because he was talking to a real, sophisticated, educated, high value woman. I'm not talking about people's views on Candace. I'm talking about her as a woman. When you talk to women like that, you can't be saying clap cheeks. You can't be saying
yeah.
304. You better be able to fucking cross your T's and dot your
She's
I's.
and she's a wife though. You know what I'm
And
saying?
she's a wife. You better be able to cross your T's and dot your I's. These are the conversations we should be having with these types of women to bring change about in the community, whatever is left of it, and to bring change about on how men and women should interact.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't want to be on that. I would never be on that channel. Like all these channels talk about sex and the dating
I
world. And
I go. You know what though, Antoine? I agree with what you're saying, but like I would go on those channels because like
they're not at
somebody
your
had
level, Vic. They're not at your level, Vic.
here's what I'm saying. Like if you go there and you have the ability to assert yourself and create a respectful conversation. That's what this platform is. This is my attempt at creating a respectful conversation between men and women. But
Right.
before we bring the women to the table, the men gotta have code. We gotta have an established way that we talk to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my point, and then on top of that, you don't just invite anybody to your platform. You have to make sure that that person's character reflects the reputation of the platform. So
Exactly. There you go.
So my point being is that it doesn't matter who platform I go on, because I'm not going to get out of character, because I'm not a character. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? There's
Right.
a lot of people that's playing a character, and you know what I'm saying. Just like I sent you that clip of the dude that got the single mom song, and then he you know what I'm saying, went on. I didn't understand that. It looked mental to me,
It
but
looked like
like
he was off his
it
guard.
looked very mental,
He looked like a
and
hurt man. He looked like a hurt man. Like
hey,
somebody done run this boy wrong.
well,
And I'll say it, man. He looked like he was not all there.
hey, but here's the other part though. He might be playing a character, because people get to put on whatever face they want to put on.
Then you
And
can't be mad if people view you the way they view you, right?
yeah, like Charleston White, who's basically a master at playing a character. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I've seen him have low frequency, not I've seen him have low volume, high frequency dialogue about real topics, and he knows how to address it and knows how to articulate it. And then I also seen how he knows his audience and how to engage them too, because he already know what kind of friction he gonna get.
Right.
But the thing is though, he behaves according to his audience, because he is responsible for whatever message he's delivering, and they don't get him off his square. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to what a brand is supposed to do, a brand is supposed to be able to go in any room, and everybody's supposed to know that that brand is represented by common sense. That brand is represented by whatever, you know what I'm saying, the brand stands on. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be built on something.
Can we be fair to say that I just believe we as men, okay?
Yeah,
We
talk
as
about
men,
the Go ahead, Antoine. Yeah.
I just believe we as men have an obligation and a duty to talk to women at a certain respect because they are women. I'm not talking about the feminist women that want to be treated. I'm not talking about the ratchet one. I'm talking about we have to give women the respect. Even if we don't agree with their lifestyle, we have to give them the respect that they deserve when they come on your platform and have that conversation and talk to them in a manner that can produce an educated topic, an educated conversation.
Yep.
We can't do, as men, it's our role as leaders to talk to them in a way that that respect that they deserve. Now, if they get out of character, it's our job to check them and put them back in place. If they get too out of character, it's our job to dismiss them.
Yep.
And say, you know what? Obviously, I can't bring you back into this conversation because you're acting up all wild. You can exit, right? And slide your chair over, and the next one will try. But it's still our role to talk to them with. They're still women at the end of the day. We're still supposed to open the door for them, even though feminists say don't do it. We're still supposed to treat them at a certain level of respect. Like my father to this day, even though he's married to my mom over 70 years, he still treats her with the utmost respect when he addresses her. Yeah, they get in their fights. Don't get me wrong.
But it's
a certain level of respect that we as men should have as leaders until they give us reasons otherwise. And I don't see that on social media.
No, that's definitely no. See, and that's the thing, man. I believe going back to who's in conflict, right? Why is the respect lacking? And if the respect is lacking from men to women, well, what's the metrics of the men and the women that are in conflict with each other? It's not the married people. Generally speaking, it's not going to be the married people that's in a solid relationship that use you know what I'm saying? Like
right.
me and you know what I'm saying, like my other friends that are married, we're not getting on social media beefing with each other in front of the world. Then on top of that, I'm not beefing with women that aren't, like that I'm not in a relationship or not responsible for or not related to. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even getting down like that with them. So even
and I'm glad you said that, because I won't have a conversation with a woman who's got a shirt buttoned down to there, got ratchet claws out to here, big eye. I'm not going to talk to her because nothing I can say on her level that will register.
Yep, and that's the vetting.
There's nothing I would be able to say, and you could call it judgment. Button your shirt up, put your hands down, and let's have a conversation.
Yeah,
Then it's different. But I know she's not capable. That type of woman is not capable of it,
I'm
and
not
that's
interested.
the type that again makes money on the internet.
Yep, and that's the thing, man. I believe most arguments and conflict is relegated to the people that have shared experiences that they relate to. They've had more conflict in their life, so the majority of their communication is going to be about conflict, who they
Right.
had beef with, how, like, because it once it becomes uh routine language to be disrespectful to people,
Right.
tells me more about the type of, what I'm saying, uh, engagements you have when you're not on the platform, and those are the men that don't know how to talk to women, and a lot of the women that are in those conflicts on the other half, that's the only attention they understand.
Right. Right.
Because like you always talk about, what I'm saying, you want to see women move and move in grace a lot more, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing
but you
impressed me more but an elegant woman. And even
but
when she's mad, she's still elegant. Oh, it's so.
but most of the women that move in conflict more than grace are raised in conflict more
Yeah.
than grace.
Unfortunately, yes. I
Yeah,
like.
so
I would have a. I told you if I had it my way, and I would encourage women, they should have a school of etiquette for women, how to be a proper woman. They should
yeah.
have a class how to be a proper woman, how to
Well,
conduct yourself as a proper woman. And I'm not saying. Listen. Oh, that's another thing. That's a good thing. I'm not to take it too long over. You know when they say women aren't equal to men, women are equal to men. We can't do their roles, and they can't do ours. We are physically stronger than women. Women are emotionally stronger than men. That's a fact. I don't give a shit what you say.
I,
We're emotionally strong when it comes to our work and what we do and providing and shit. But when it comes down to emotional, sustaining a home, keeping the shit together, my father doesn't even have an inclination on how to do that compared to my mother. And my mother never, it doesn't. In a proper home, a proper setting, women are just as valuable as a man, but because you can't do what she does. A man can't nurture a
and you
child
don't
like a
want to,
woman. We
and you
can't.
don't want to.
We
Look,
can't nurture a child like a. We can't do what they do. You know when they
no,
say we work hard, and you ask any doctor, they'll say, Antoine, there's nothing equivalent that a man could do to equal a woman giving birth in pain. They go,
mm,
men would die, pass out, kill themselves for
mm.
what that woman is going through. But they have that mechanism in it to do it. So we can't downplay that strength that they have to do that. That's all I'm saying. And we do. All we say is, oh, well, you just bring life into this world. But we don't talk about the strength it takes to do that, no matter what level she brought it in. That's not the point.
Let me push back, and not because I disagree. I want to
Oh.
push back because we need to change the word from equal to complementary,
Hmm.
because complementary is what you just described. There are things that women can do that men can't do as efficiently or at all in some cases. And then on top of that, we don't want to do them. And just like there's some things that we do that women can do, but women wouldn't do them if they don't have to, if they have a
I
man
would
that,
like, okay, so I would say, um,
because
equal
like
for the sake of social media, but you're right.
but let me finish
You're right.
why I'm saying it going from equal to complementary, because in a relationship it's all about balancing your strengths and weaknesses with each other.
Right.
And just because you're weak over here doesn't mean that you're no good for the relationship. And if you're stronger where I'm weaker, you're supposed to take stuff off my plate, and I'm supposed to take stuff off of yours, right?
Right.
So that's about being complementary. When you start talking about like teamwork, being equal, that is transactional relationship. That is, I can do what you could do, and I can pick and choose when I want to do it. But you can't expect to have a a balanced household, because if you put two people underneath the same roof that believe that they're equal only because of superficial things, you're gonna have you're gonna still have some gaps, because it's gonna be like, I did it the last time, you do it this time. You know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can agree with you on that.
saying?
That is
So
true.
that's why I think the words make the conversation more palatable. You know what I'm saying, when we start talking about this, because the gender war for the last 4 or 5 years or however long it's been has been competitive for no reason between people that don't even want each other and between people that can't accept the options that they already have.
And I think it's the words that we use as men too, submissive and provider and shit like that. And women use provider and words that trigger men. Like
Well,
we're gonna provide if you are a good submissive. No,
I'm glad you look. This is where the social. I love what you're saying right now, Antoine. Let me tell you why. I made a post one day. I said, "Only husbands and fathers are providers."
yep.
So that gets that group of men out of the conversation. So
And wives are the only ones that deserve to be provided for.
and exactly, wives are the only
Ones as
women,
not a girlfriend, your wife.
wives are the only women
Yeah, that deserve
qualify
to be
for
provided for.
providers.
Yeah,
So if you get the husbands and wives out of that conversation, and then now you get women already got kids asking, "Are you a provider?" You ain't even a wife. And
yeah,
he ain't even the husband. Like you don't know if he's looking for a wife. But that the person,
exactly.
so that lets me know, number one, I'm old. Number two, those people have different expectations of the men that they ask those questions from, because
Right.
I'm not making myself available to talk to people, to talk to women that I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I already got a wife, so I'm not talking to women online to see if a conversation is going to go to a point where it's like, are you a provider? Like, she should never have to ask me that question. You know what I'm saying?
True.
If Because I shouldn't be positioning myself to entertain any of her exploratory questions about, am I a provider? I wouldn't be, because like the equivalent would be, um, are you a wife, or are you submissive? Why would I ask that question to a woman that I'm not interested in? Why would I talk to a woman that I'm not married to and ask if she's submissive? I don't care. She ain't my wife. You know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
like she shouldn't be asking if I'm a provider. I ain't her husband. So, number one, providers are husbands and fathers, and wives are the only women that qualify for providers. Wives and daughters, you know what I'm saying, of husbands that are fathers or
Yeah.
father. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either
We
way.
agree on that.
So, but man, I think the social media piece it was a really good topic in terms of being able to break it down, because you got to redefine these terms. We got to have better terms, because when you brought up the disrespect piece about men communicating to women
Ooh,
online,
it's horrible, man.
it's
I just cringe worthy when I hear them talk.
yeah, because like to feel so obligated and motivated to use 3 and 4 letter words to describe, you know, uh women in terms of character. I started talking about behavior. People that fit the behavior move this way,
Yeah.
and that's why I created the terminology being sexually disciplined or sexually undisciplined. The sexually undisciplined women and sexually disciplined women are not the same.
Mm,
The undisciplined men attract undisciplined women.
right.
Disciplined men are attract disciplined women.
Women. Yep.
So who fits into the discipline demographic of men and women? Husbands and wives in most cases.
And Vic, I can tell you, man. I'm telling you, the minute I started, I have proof, man. The minute I started, stop listening to certain topics and how they talk in social media while working, has changed what type of woman I'm attracting and the people that I'm talking to. It has changed
Mhm.
that because my vibration is different.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it really is, and it really impacted my life. Like I said, holy shit, was I really like that before? Like, oh goddamn. Like,
Hmm.
okay. Like, what did it really have that effect? Right?
Yeah,
In a sense of how I'm judging people,
right.
So that's why when I told you the game is changing, and you can't. I just want to have a platform that, listen, as men, we're going to give them the utmost respect until they give us reasons otherwise, not by their profession or what they've done, but by what comes out of their mouth and how they conduct themselves at that
Well,
time.
well, this is what I'll say. the men that talk to women like that, they don't reflect what we're talking about.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
so we don't give them any oxygen, and we only focus on the behavior of the sexually undisciplined man and distinguishing that from the sexually disciplined man, right?
Right.
Um, and so the women should be doing the same thing. They need to distinguish themselves from the undisciplined women. They carrying too many crosses. Like men that are disrespectful, they are not our responsibility.
Yep. I agree with that.
So that's where we got to cut our losses if we haven't already. Um, and I think women, if they believe that they should be spoken to better, and you know they standing too close to the people that's okay with being disrespected.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's part of it too. Everybody can't go, everybody ain't gonna make it, and this is what it looks like. And number one, if you think that you can get further by being disrespectful, then stay on that side.
Yeah.
If you think you can get further by accepting disrespect, then stay on that side.
Right.
If
Agreed.
you believe that discipline gets you further in life and closer to your goals, come on this side. If
Right.
you believe that discipline is the key to validating, if you believe that discipline is part of your core values to attract someone that reflects the way you feel about yourself, stay on this side.
Yeah.
That's just it. We got to have a better constructive conversation without the extra disrespect, and that's part of it. Because I think that with the social media angle that prompted this topic with, you have to take all of that stuff into consideration, because we are only behaving based on the way that we treat each other. And
Yeah.
that's why when you look at stuff and you're like, oh yeah, I don't talk to people like that, so that she's not my audience or he's not my audience. But if you are easy to take the bait and get into a verbal fisticuffs, something you don't know, and it's not a fruitful exchange of information where you actually learn something, then you probably undisciplined too.
Yeah.
So
Totally
uh,
agree.
and that's why, like, instead of using disrespectful language to um, voice, and instead of using disrespectful language to um, promote myself, my like what I'm about, and things of that nature, I'd rather just have the vetting criteria of who I need to talk to and why I don't talk to them, and then still do my thing, not have my energy disturbed, and work with the people that want to work with me. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and with that being said, it's time to shout out our sponsor. So, shout out to Leo McGee at State Farm. You see www.mcgeeforme.com. Inbox her, email her, let her know that you're interested in setting up your future financially, and how you can structure a life insurance policy to benefit your family and your loved ones. So in the event of extenuating circumstances, you got an insurance policy that can take care of your business. So, check out mcgeeforme.com. And, also, we appreciate her support for the platform, and we'll always be on the same team and in partnership with each other, because
Right.
this discipline and partnership go hand in hand.
Exactly.
So outside of that, you guys can check out the merch store. I dropped some links in the chat. And that's about it, man. Anything you want to leave us with before I get out of here?
No, it's perfect. You did it
Okay.
right.
All good, man. I like to get out of here on the what I'm saying, on a clean note as much as I can. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe on all platforms and hit the like button and follow. Please leave your feedback in the comments. Make sure you hit up the super chat, leave a donation to support the platform. Your chick make you mad, my chick make me a sandwich. Your chick make you mad, my chick make me a sandwich. Go cop the shirt, visit the merch store, shop with Accountable Masculinity, and support the platform. Men have hope.